in an effort to further help, help people understand, the nationality aspect of things. I put together a little text. It's called Understanding Moorish Nationality. This is actually the second volume. I got two volumes. Um, it is for sale on my website, and that's listed below there. But I the whole thing is that the Moors are a federally protected group of people here in the United States and all over the planet in essence because we are the indigenous people. Um, it's kind of like I go on to state that the misnamed indigenous populations of the Americas are with duty to stand under one flag, as their ancestors once did. Take note that the descendants of the North American Moors are the present-day Iroquois, Algonquin, Anasazi, Hokum, Olmec, Apache, Arawak, Arikana, Shavan, Cherokee, Cree, Hoopa, Hopi, Makai, Mohawk, Naka, Zulu, Zuni. These words also derive from Arabic and Islamic roots and origins. See Pre-Columbian Muslims in America by Dr. Youssef Moreh. Doubts about the status of Negroes and Indians, as mentioned above, are relieved by the Organic Constitution for the United States of America, Article 1, Section 2, which prohibits the taxation of three-fifths persons and Indians without representation. In other words, there are no representatives in the legislative branch that can represent the best interest of the fallen Moorish subjects without going against the Magna Carta Code, the Ku Klux Klan Oath, and the original 13th Amendment, which prohibits African, whether free or formerly enslaved, from ever becoming citizens of the United States. This is also applied to their descendants. In the United States, we are forced to interpret and apply the law as it was intended by the framers. If we Moors, Indians, and Negroes were not citizens under the original Constitution, then it cannot be lawful that we be forced into quasi-citizenship under the 14th Amendment, no matter what paperwork has been signed or filled out. So, the question is further back in how are we to exercise our rights here if we're not citizens and the laws are supposed to protect citizens? Well, understand everybody who comes here ain't exactly a citizen. What it is that their nation has a treaty with this corporation, or with this country, if you want to call it that. And based on that treaty, they have certain guidelines in which they have to follow with respect to dealing with people of a foreign nation. So if I'm from Morocco and I'm trying to exercise certain rights, then I have a right to assert my treaty rights and then be judged according to that treaty, as well as whatever laws that may be consistent with the laws of the land. I think it's Article 21 says that we get the equal rights get rendered and equal justice for the Moors over here if a citizen shall violate the rights of the Moor, or if a Moor shall violate the rights of a citizen. Okay, so again, that just further proof that we are, we the Aboriginal, we indigenous, and that we are a part of this band of supposed Native Americans that have that have existed here for a very long time. Now another issue we're gonna go into with respect to that is that what does it say? The African / Asiatic Muslims or Moors, tawny and dark, are not only victims; they too, like the European, went into foreign lands and made property out of men and women. They took gold, diamonds, and people and other resources from indigenous tribes, attempted conversions of whole tribes to create Muslim states throughout the land, and established schools of higher learning. As a writer, I would be unjustified in not mentioning the disdain or contempt held by many Muslims of the time, from 10th century to now, for tribal peoples in Africa and abroad. Please note that not all Muslims are in any way against their pale-skinned brothers or dark-skinned brothers. It is just the fact that you must understand that this writer is not biased and is some way shamed by his own people's behaviors towards one another, all in the name of religion or conquering or trying to dictate to another person how it's gonna be. Um, it's really important that we understand that the colonists and the other nations assented to and benefited from the denationalization of the subjects of the Moorish/Malian Songhai Empire scattered about the globe after its breakup. Nonetheless, through the Sons of Cain and other mystic societies/orders, the truth has been kept preserved just for the quickening of the mind that wishes to turn the heart into an altar for God Allah as evidence of an undying love for humanity. So, again, this is, you know, this is to reawaken the individual, to make them see in themselves that which is already known, which again is that we got a right to autonomy. We are Aboriginal, we indigenous, we got our own constitution. This is the actual copy of the original that's filed in the Library of Congress. It's that Zodiac Constitution by C.M. Bay. And this Zodiac Constitution, it further affirms our connection to Islam, as you can see, and it lets these people know, or letting the world know, that we are exercising our autonomy and our tribal rights through the fact that we operate on our Zodiac Constitution. Because you got to look at it like this: the Zodiac represents the body of knowledge that comes through nature and shows itself as proof to us. The Constitution itself is that body. So you gotta look at the Constitution just like you think of your own Constitution. What are you made of, and how you actually the rules that you or your cells have to follow in order for you to be to make the best of this society, or this condition that you in, or the human condition. So ultimately, we guided by our Zodiac Constitution, which is based on the laws of nature. You know what I'm saying? And one of the best things about this whole thing is that everybody knows that the Moors basically civilized the whole of civilization. This is something that we have to take in consideration, that we have to be proficient at and understanding when we are claiming the same rights and securing the same rights that our ancestors once secured so long ago. So what is it? The true history and the law of North America has never been revealed to the subjugated masses. This antisocial practice is a part of the necessary socialization tools for maintaining veiled economic, political, and bureaucratic servitude in the Americas, particularly the North Gate. So, it's one of them things where we revealing the secrets to the people through our Zodiac Constitution and to our connection with our ancestors and with the Most High, who governs all things, and that's bound to take place in this time, in this period. So, like I say, again, we are federally protected. We ain't Indians, we ain't Negro, and we ain't black or colored. We Moors, Moorish American nationals, and we here to exercise them rights that we are how you say we are given through our being born here. Sorry about that. But that's just one of the main things, is that we trying to let the world know that we're gonna start exercising our rights, our God-given rights, not our man rights or that civil rights stuff. So it's important that that you understand that the first article talks about how we talking about the first article again of the Zodiac Constitution. You know what I'm saying? That Zodiac Constitution. So in that first article, one of the main things they talk about is the fact that the 12 signs of the Zodiac, which is the code of mathematics, scaling from 0 to 9, the science of geometry. It all comprised the Constitution of the living Moorish nation of North America, referred to as Negroes, who ruled the world and the seven seas by the 12 signs of the Zodiac and the science of geometry for 1196 years to the Amazon Dutch German Catholic priests, fathers of the Revolution of 1789, and the Sisterhood, Magna Carta, Emancipation Proclamation, Union Society of White Supremacy in 1863, North America. 12 jurymen of the 50 Union State Society and also the 9 judges of the Supreme Court were founded upon the Moorish nation's 12 signs of the Zodiac Constitution and mathematics, getting from 0 to 9. Thus, without our Moorish Constitution, the Magna Carta, the Emancipation Union Society of the myth of white supremacy definitely could not have been founded in 1863. In other words, these people owe everything to us. Even when you think about the rise of the Ku Klux Klan, they got their own Ku Klux Klan, and it goes into how they operate and the system of government which they wish to rule their organization, how they like to try to establish themselves and give themselves authority amongst each other. That's how they order their affairs. So we have ours, and again, it's based on the Zodiac and the principles of 0 through 9, because those are the symbols that we came up with many, many thousands of years ago that have allowed us to be able to make the best of this reality here that we find ourselves in. So then you got Article 2, which is the Zodiac Constitution, talk about the birthrights of the Moors and the Moorish American, the Bays and the L's. Now I further explain that to you with this Othello's children, in the New World and things like that. When I discussed it earlier about where the Bays and the L's come from and how they relate. And basically, it talks about how the Moorish American nationality and their surnames Bay and L are the inherited birthrights without any legal due process of the lawmakers of the Union Society of the United States of America. What our Moorish forefathers were, we are today without a doubt or contradiction, namely Moorish. So again, remember, this is your Zodiac Constitution. This is how you go get your tribal rights. This is evidence to the fact that you are tribal, you aboriginal, and you indigenous. These people can't tell you that you something else, especially if this is what your forefathers were before this. Now, Article 3 deals with the tax and military exemption for Moorish Americans, Bays, and L's. The Moors, referred to as Negro, definitely cannot become members and citizens of the Union Society of 48 states. Therefore, they cannot be forced or drafted into the United States Army or military service to fight the Magna Carta Code or the white supremacy against themselves. Okay, you can't serve two masters. So definitely, if you were Moor, then you know you were Moor. You know who you belong, who your allegiances belong to, and you know that you are not required to pay taxes based on the fact that, again, you aboriginal and indigenous. And Article 1, Section 2 of the United States Constitution reads the same thing, that the 3/5 persons in Indian shall not be taxed. And they ain't got no representatives in office either. So if we don't have no representatives in office and we can't be taxed and things like that, then again, further affirmation that Article 3 of our Zodiac Constitution, okay, is right along in line with the principles and the laws of the United States. Alright, let's go to the next one. It also says within that Article 3, the lawmakers of the 48 states union order cannot force the Moors, the Bay and L to pay tax, because taxation without representation is a supreme violation of the Moorish Zodiac Constitution, birthrights of Islam. When the Union lawmakers denounce their immortal Magna Carta Code and resort to the Moorish Zodiac Constitution, the Moors are compelled to pay tax because every one of the nation will be equally represented by it. There is no room in the science of the Zodiac for the mystic god, religious worship, race, color, ignorance, war, crime, slavery, and human injustice. So again, this is further proof that, our Constitution, that's what you're using with respect to the Zodiac and to ourselves, is again a legal document and protects you, it gives you a legal standing to stand on, and puts you in the right direction to help you understand how reality is supposed to actually be in line with what it is, the way you live in your life. Okay, now you got Article 4. Article 4 basically it goes into the adequate employment and protection for Moorish Americans. Every lawmaker, the heads of industry and business enterprise of the 50 states union order are obligated members and citizens of the Magna Carta Christian Church and Temple system of Christ the King of Jews, meaning the jury over the wealth and culture of the living Moorish nation. Now, that's just evidence of the fact that the same thing that what the brother was talking about with James Trafficant when he was speaking on how the Congress sits as the trustees over the wealth of the people, which is the land, and they supposed to be acting on behalf of us, the people, which is the Moors. We the sure citizens here because these other cats, the U.S. citizens, the Europeans, they didn't pretty much waive their rights and coming under that union. Well, because they come under that union, they acting as shareholders of the Moorish Americans, the de jure citizens, the true nationals here. Okay. Therefore, by the Moorish Zodiac Constitution, the Moors, the Bays, and the Ills can demand adequate employment, food, clothing, shelter, medical care, equal rights, respect, and protection from mob violence, rape, and injustices otherwise without being obligated to the Union, Church, and religious system of the Order of Christ, the White Sun, Idol God. Now, again, this further affirms the fact that, under United States Code, Title 8, subsection 1401, the tribal rights is not waived just because of the fact that we born in a territory that the United States is claiming that is theirs and belongs to them. They can't make us citizens, but at the same time, because we human, we here, this our land, we indigenous, we aboriginal, they got to give us rights here, else they gonna have a hellified problem trying to exist in the way that they want to exist. So again, this is Article 4, and this is how you know that we Moors are not separatists. We just trying to get along here just like everybody else, and we want to have the same rights just like everybody else as Moorish American nationals. That's what we are. So like I said, adequate employment and protection for Moorish Americans. So again, there's nothing about this suggests something to do with separatism. Okay, now Article 5, the immoral marriage license code is against the Zodiac law of nature. So in other words, we ain't got no business going up into the Christian court systems and getting married under them, basically selling ourselves back to each other through the European church system. It's a violation of nature. Men and women are already married under the eyes of God, and the only thing that the man and woman need to do is to live it and actually act it through, which again would be consistent with the moral law, the moral code, the moral standard upon every, that's binding upon every nation on this planet that chooses to get together and build something. So that's Article 5. And like I said, it deals with the bridging together of the people through the natural sciences, which everybody knows. So if polar opposites are all on the same standard, then we have to realize that they bound, them polar opposites bound. So by our human connection, by the fact that man and woman is considered to be opposites of the same, we bound. We already married, tied to each other at the hip for life. That's the relationship that we have. So they want to make sure that people understand that the supreme standard of the Zodiac, which is marriage law, deals with culture. And that particular culture is based on the polar opposites that you find with the Zodiac. So, when you're in harmony with nature, like Aries is fire and Libra is air, Taurus is earth and Scorpio is water, Gemini is air and Sagittarius is fire, Cancer is water and Capricorn is earth, Leo is fire and Aquarius is air, Virgo is earth and Pisces is water. The 1863 Union Bible story of Eve and Adam were founded upon the Moorish Zodiac 12 signs law, the negative and the positive forces of nature, male and female. In harmony with nature, Aries is fire and Gemini is air, Leo is fire and Libra is air, Sagittarius is fire and Aquarius is air. Persons born under opposite signs and the angle signs are in harmony with one another in every manner. Thus, first-hand knowledge of the sign under which you and your mate were born will guide your destiny in peace, progress, and happiness forever. Let us remember that this is not a theory. The zodiac is the absolute universal standard of marriage and human guidance. Woman and man will know their duty toward one another and their children without being forced by the traditional code for the covenant. Now, again, you got Article 6. Okay, because like I say, that marriage thing, that's just what I read on Article 5. Article 6. The one and only universal moral code for unity, peace, and economic and social progress. The Moorish Zodiac Constitution is the only universal unchanged moral law for the human family, for unity, human equality, and respect, peace, and economic and social progress. Therefore, every Moor, the Beys, and the Ills must be guided by this Constitution and book clock of destiny to do that which is right by reason and have respect for the white lawmakers and the citizens of the Magna Carta Union Society of 50 states in order to demand respect from them. The quote-unquote white peoples of the Union are guided by their Magna Carta traditions and customs, and the Moors are guided by the Zodiac Constitution law. Nevertheless, their customs and traditions, including themselves, must be respected by the Moors without submitting themselves to any of the Magna Carta customs. That which is termed Christian law is a rule of action recorded on paper and supported by authority and force. The Zodiac law is recorded in the wisdom of women and men and supported by moral intelligence, the greatest law. So again, this is further evidence of the fact that we have a binding agreement that says that we gonna respect the rights and the privileges of the U.S. citizens here to operate and do their thing, and in exchange they gonna respect our substantial rights, on the basis that they own our property, they own our land, and they can be taxed, and that tax has every right to go to us in order that we might live and better ourselves on the basis that they're occupying this space here. So and in a sense, again, we also agree that we're gonna show respect for their laws and the rules that are proper and consistent with the original document, which is the United States Constitution for America. So that's like I said, that's Article 6. The other thing is then you got that Article 7. So Moorish Americans, freedoms and legal duties in the Christian Union courtroom. In the Christian Union courtroom, the Moors cannot be forced to remove their fez from their heads, nor can they be forced to raise their hand and take an oath over a Christian Bible. Neither can Moors, the Beys, and the Ills employ white or Negro lawyers to present them. This reason for this is that white people and their Negro slaves definitely cannot represent the free Moorish Americans, because again, you can't have somebody who a slave representing somebody who's free. That's the main thing there. Then number two, even when it does happen, a lot of times it's considered illegal because it equates to slavery. You can't have somebody represent your interests if you a human and they human, unless you submit yourself to a slave status and allow them to oversee, be your ward or your caretaker. So that's and the reason why this Article 7 is so important is because of the fact that the Negro is the property of the Union slaveholders. The Moors must respect the court by saying, "I affirm." Here the court has no jurisdiction over them, which automatically makes them qualified to defend themselves by the Zodiac Constitution law and their mathematical number 9. The number 9 corresponds with the letter I, based on the 9 months from conception to birth, which makes you, your highest self, the great I am. The first and the highest law of self-protection and self-preservation in harmony with your Zodiac 12 signs, unchanged constitutional moral law of 360 degrees squared by your number 9. So again, we know that we are Moors. You know what I'm saying? When we dealing with the science of law, the science of nature, based on the 12 signs of the Zodiac. The Moorish Zodiac Constitution is referred in Christian mythology as the Holy Quran or Al-Quran, meaning the earth, the moon, the sun, and the 7 planets, or the chronology zodiac record of the Moorish nation of Northgate, North America. The name Muhammad, prophet, religion, God, church, temple, and mosque were established by the Dutch Anglo-Saxon priesthood Franciscan fathers of the North, who overthrew the Moorish Society of Islam between 1789 and the Union of 1863. The Moors, the Beys, and Ills must never attempt to teach or lecture in the Christian institutions namely church, temple, mosque, school, and hall. This is a violation of the Union Society, States' Right, Magna Carta, Code, and of Mary and Christ. The truth of the Moorish Zodiac Constitution law and moral human principles definitely conflicts with the Christian Union customs and doctrine of the Magna Carta from every angle. Nor do not criticize the white people's belief in the religion or their sun and women image. Nor do not ever attempt to influence the quote-unquote white people to accept the oral truth and principles of your 12 signs Zodiac Constitutional law, because the Magna Carta is a Latin phrase meaning Magna Carta of the so-called white peoples, economic and social attraction only, which had its beginning in the colonies of Ohio, Michigan, Indiana, and Illinois in 1848 and 1854. If the lawmakers of the 50 Union States Society of North America should attempt to ignore the Moorish American Zodiac law and birthrights of this Constitution, it would be an act of supreme violation of their own Magna Carta Code. This, again, folks, this is the proof that we are here. We have our own, we got our own business. We got our own business about us, and we got a right to be here. And the guy gotta say it's through your Zodiac Constitution. Get it, do what it is you gotta do with it, and make sure you stand on it and get yourself right.